Siman Kuf, starting now, the halachas of Purim. So the four parashas we start off with. Sif Aleph, Shabbos Shlifnei Rish Chodesh Adar Asamach LeNisan, the other that is before Rish Chodesh Nisan. So usually the years that are two others would be the second one. This year, there's only one. So he Parshas Shkolim. He Shabbos Parshas Shkolim. This Shabbos would be, so we have four parashas that we're going to talk about, as it says in the heading. The first one that we start off with is Parshas Shkolim. Why do we start off before even Chodesh Adar Parshas Shkolim? Because during the month of Adar, they would be collecting the funds for all the things that they needed in the Beis Hamikdash, different karbanos. They would bring the karbanos tzibur, etc. So in order that people should be preparing before Adar, so they should have whatever they need, their shekels that they need, so we would already start reading the parsha, the Shabbos Mevarchim before. And this way, everyone is ready within those 30 days with whatever it is that they need. So we've already done this. We already read Parsha Shkolim already this Shabbos. Now, Ve'im Chal Rish Chodesh b'Shabbos. What would happen? Okay, so this year was very simple. It's not yet Rish Chodesh, but it already was Shabbos Mevarchim. But what happens if Rish Chodesh is Shabbos itself? So do you do it the Shabbos before? So the answer is no. Azai, he Shabbos Shkolim, that Shabbos, which is Rish Chodesh, would be Shabbos Shkolim. And therefore, Mitziin Shloisha Sifrei Torah. On that week, you would take out 3 Sifrei Torah. Why 3? Rishon, Kaidin, Shisha, Parshas HaShavua. The first Sefer Torah, you're going to do 6 aliyahs of the regular Parsha. That means that Shishi, you read all the way till the end, instead of stopping for Shvi'i. Basheni, you take out the second Torah, Kaidin LaShvi'i, and that would be the 7th aliyah. And that you would do B'Shal Rish Chodesh. Why? Because Tadir V'Sheni Tadir Kaidim. So therefore, the Shchodesh comes more often. And also, you don't start the way we usually read it on a regular day, regular Shchodesh. Rather, Maschilim B'Yem Shabbos. You start from what we would say now is the third aliyah, which is basically B'Yem Shabbos. And then that is the chiyuv requirements of reading on Shabbos, 7 aliyahs. It includes 6 for the regular week and 1 for Rish Chodesh. So then you do Chatzi Kaddish after. Ubashlishi, and then you take out the third Sefer Torah and create in Maftir Parsha Shkolim, and then you do the one that's not so common, Parsha Shkolim. You read that as the Maftir, and then Maftirin Haftarah Shkolim. And then the Haftarah that you do would be the Haftarah of Shkolim. Why do you do that? Because you always do the Haftarah of the Maftir. In other words, whatever is the last reading you did, that's the one that you do the Haftarah. So when it comes to Parsha Shkolim, which you read as the Maftir, so the Haftarah will be that as well. So that applies to other times that you have different kriyas also. It's always going to be the same thing. Okay. So that's what we always do, the Haftarah of the one that we did the Maftir of. So that's the way it would be. So, but V'imto, let's say you made a mistake. They forgot, they read the wrong one, whatever. So instead, V'ischilu likrit chila Parsha Shkolim. Instead of doing the Shvi'i of Rish Chodesh, which they should have done, instead, they first did Shkolim. They got excited. They forgot it was Rish Chodesh or whatever. So then the halacha is Goimrim. You finish Shkolim, you do it, even though it's out of order, it's okay. You finish that one, and then you do Rish Chodesh after, which is Maftir, and then for the Haftarah, Kaira B'Shal Rish Chodesh, you'll do the Haftarah of Rish Chodesh. 1 second. And no, because I said you always do the Haftarah of the thing. But Maftir Gamken Haftarah Shabbos V'Rish Chodesh. So in that case, you would do the Maftir. What did I just say? Yeah, the Maftir would be Rish Chodesh, and the Haftarah would be Shabbos Rish Chodesh as well. Now, there is a little leeway, which is that if you did make a mistake by Shachris, so l'chura, you could make it up by Mincha, which means that after you do the regular Mincha Kriya, so then you would do the, what's it called? You would do the Shkolim as well by Mincha after you do it. Okay, now, the way you would do it is, you can, thank you. So if you totally forgot and didn't take out a Sefer Torah, you would take out another Sefer Torah, but you wouldn't make brachas. Okay, but we'll leave that aside. The way it's in the Vart is like that. Now let's just look quickly in the bottom first for a second. Look at Aleph and the Ha'aras. It says like this: So b'soif kriyas haftarah shel shkolim. That what happens after you finish doing the haftarah of shkolim? So this is a Shabbos that's Rosh Chodesh also. So then lifnei habrachas, before you finish the proper haftarah, making the brachas, first, this is exclusively Chabad, as far as I know, my sifin pasuk rishon va'acharein shel haftarah Shabbos Rosh Chodesh. The first thing you'll do is you'll add the first and last pasuk of the haftarah that you would normally do for Shabbos Rosh Chodesh, which is basically Koyam Hashem, which is Hashemayim Kisi, and Midei Chodesh B'Chadshah, which is basically for Erev Rish Chodesh. So it depends if it's a double, yeah. Now, V'im, no, I'm sorry. That's the regular Rish Chodesh one. But then v'im shamish kalmu be'erev Rish Chodesh hazay ma'sifin pasuk rishon v'achron shel hafteres machar Chodesh. So then you would do the first and last pasuk. In other words, our minig is that if there's ever a haftarah that pushes away another one, you still incorporate the original one by doing the first and last pasuk. So anytime you'll have Chanukah, Shabbos Chanukah, Rish Chodesh. So over there you'll take out 3 Sifrei Torah, one will be the Parsha, one will be Rish Chodesh, and one will be for Chanukah, and then you do the Haftarah of Chanukah. Then you'll also do, like we mentioned then, the first and last pasuk of either Shabbos Rish Chodesh or Shabbos Erev Rish Chodesh, one of those. Okay. Now, so far we have the first Parsha. Yeah, the first Parsha, you want to say something? Oh, okay. The first Parsha, we read there. The first Parsha is Shkalim. Okay, that comes first. That we already did. Get that out of the way. Now, Siv Beis. Shabbos Shalifnei Purim, he Parshas Zachar. The next Parsha we read is Parsha Zachar, which is basically about Amalek. So if you look on the bottom on the Ara Beis, it says in the Kriya of Parsha Zachar, you say Zecher Zecher Amalek. There's 2 different ways how to do it. And the Rebbe once said about this, he says, I think he quoted from the Frierdiker, if I'm not mistaken, he said, Zecher Zecher Abi Gut Upmekin. Sometimes people get caught up in like, it says Zecher, Zecher, Zachar. The main thing is to erase Amalek. That's the real thing. Yeah.
When you read from Kitzur and Zecher, when you read on Purim and B'Shalach, it's Zecher.
That's correct. But so over here for Parsha Zachar, it would be Zecher, Zecher. Now the reason why we do it the way we do it, the reason why we do it is like this. The reason why we do it is like this. That on Purim is the story with Haman, which was Amalek's descendant. So therefore, there's 2 things. Number one, we want to mention Amalek right before we mention the whole story of his descendant, which is Haman. And number 2, the ikar is that we want to erase Amalek first. So in other words, before we get to the story of Purim, the first thing you want to do is erase Haman, erase Amalek. So therefore, we first do Parsha Zachar, the Shabbos before, and then we do it. So far we already know like this. You're going to do Shkalim before Adar because you have to start collecting the Shkalim so that you have it in Adar. You're going to do Parsha Zachar before Purim because you want to come into Purim already having erased Amalek. Okay? So that is number 2. Now we go to the Parsha number 4. The Shabbos before Rish Chodesh Nisan, which is basically the Shabbos Mevarchim of Nisan, he Parshas HaChodesh. So then you start to do Parshas HaChodesh. Now what's Parshas HaChodesh? It has to do with like being Makadosh the Chadashim. And over here you want to be, even though the Iker of Chodesh Nisan of the Kiddush really happens when you see the new moon, but never, because it says the Chodesh is Alachem, so we want to kind of talk about it before as well. So it also talks about the Korban Pesach, so there's a few reasons why we want to do it. So because it's like this, when it comes to the week before Parshas, before Rish Chodesh Nisan, so then we do Parshas HaChodesh before. Now the same thing like we said before, that Imchal Rish Chodesh b'Shabbos, let's say Rish Chodesh is on Shabbos itself, so as he Parshas HaChodesh, then you do it that week, not the week before. If it didn't come at Rish Chodesh other Shachol b'Shabbos in terms of if you make a mistake, and in the bottom he says the same thing, that you would do the Psukim before of Rish Chodesh, of Machar Chodesh, whatever it is. Okay, so far we have three Parshas. Number 1, we have Parshas Shkalim, which is before Adar. Number 2, Parshas Zachar, which is before Purim. Number 3, Parshas Chodesh, which is before Nisan. But that's really the 4th Parsha. The third Parsha is before Chodesh, and that would be Va'ashabesh Shalifnei Parshas HaChodesh, he Parshas Para. The one that's before Parshas HaChodesh is always going to be Parshas Para. Why is that? Because the whole idea of Parshas Para is the Paraduma. Paraduma makes people tahar from when they were tamei. So if you want to go into Rish Chodesh Nisan and you want to make sure that everyone is tahar so that they could bring the Korban Pesach, so therefore you want to prepare the para before, that you should have it to be able to sprinkle the people and give them the few days that they need. So you have Shkalim before Purim, so you could collect the Shkalim. Zachar before Purim. I'm sorry, what did I just say? Shkalim before Adar, so you could collect it during Adar. Zachar before Purim, so you could remember and erase Amalek first. Para before Nisan, so you could have it ready to sprinkle the people to make them tar. And Parshas HaChodesh right before Rosh Chodesh Nisan or the first day of Rosh Chodesh Nisan, so that you could talk about the New Chodesh and the Karban Pesach as you enter into Chodesh Nisan. Yeah.
Why don't you start off with like do as the first goes?
Right. So because really it's a good question because it's not always, in other words, sometimes you have weeks in between and sometimes you have less weeks in between. Like it could be it could be week I think it's 1, 3, 4, 5. It could really be in a row, or it could be more spread out. It's giving you the signs of how to know what week is what. So it's not like the week after Purim is always going to be this. It could be every week in between, depending on when Rosh Chodesh is. So it really, so that's right. It'll depend on which days of the week. So that you can't really judge by that. The easiest way to judge is to know this way with your markers of when you do them and why you do them. Okay, let's do Siv Gimel. Siv Gimel is like this. Yesh Oimrim. Some people say that Parsha Zachar or Parsha Para Chayavim L'Kreisa Midiraisa. Some people say that Parsha Zachar to remember Amalek and Parsha Para is our midaraisa. Okay. Now Parsha Zachar, we say it every single day, right? So obviously we're remembering Amalek. But what makes this one daraisa? Because some people say that the mitzvah is to read it from the Torah, to read it from an actual Sefer Torah. So that's why they would say that. But therefore, because it's for sure midaraisa, when you listen to it, you have to have kavanah that you're being yetze, this idea of mechias Amalek. And the person who reads it has to have in mind that he's being mitzi everyone else also. So because it's like a real mitzvah that you have to actually do. Okay, now some people say, now what about para? Para, there's a machlekes really. Some people say para is midaraisa, but some people say that it's midrabanan. Okay, now the machlekes would be, I guess, is if women need to hear the same parshas as well, even if it is midaraisa, because it's a mitzvah aseh that's man grama, and also really is that women, they don't really go to war. So if the whole idea of going to war, racing Amalek, women wouldn't be racing Amalek. So that's why there's a machlekes about women. Now, based on this, let's say, for example, a person would only be able to come to either Purim or the Shabbos before. Let's say you don't live in the big city and you could only go to one. Oh, let's read that soon. Okay, now the ain't created mem katan the maftir. According to the Kitzur, however, Ludas and Abena, the Alter Rebbe doesn't quite agree with that anymore because Achshav, Shashliach Tzibur, who are created b'Torah really the Chazan, meaning the Baal Koira is the one who's reading it, and he's the main guy. So Eila Gam Parsha Zachar, Parsha Para, technically a katan could still go up because it's not him that's doing the chiyuv of reading the Torah and being mitzi everyone else. It's the Chazan, the Baal Koira. He's just the guy that gets called up. It used to be whoever got called up would read. So in that case, a katan shouldn't do it because he can't be mitzi everyone else if they're midiraisa and he's midirabban. Wait, what's that? Let me finish. Now, what about the people that don't live in the cities? They don't have a minyan. So they should make sure to attend a shul, a city that has a minyan for this week of Parsha Zachar. Let's say they can't. So the chalapachas yikru eisam b'neginis karo. At minimum, they should at least sing it with the nigunim as if they're doing it in the proper way. Now, a few things on this. Number one, you don't do Parsha Zachar Shnei Mikra Vechatargim. You do the rest of the Parsha, you don't have to do it. Why not? Because when you go through the Torah, you eventually will do this Parsha Zachar in the regular place where it's supposed to be. So you don't have to do it twice throughout the year. So you do it then. But the Haftarah we do. That's our minig. Every time there's multiple Haftarahs, when it comes to Shnei Mikra, we do both Haftarahs. So that you would do, but not the Maftir, not the Parsha. What? We do. We do. Okay. Correct. Now, let's say a person can't come to shul for both Purim and for Parsha Zachar. L'chura, you should come for Parsha Zachar because that is the mitzvah aseh midaraisa. So really, that's what you should do. Now, some people say that really you could be yetze on Purim itself by the Kriya, where it also talks about Amalek. So if that's the case, then if you couldn't make it to shul for that Shabbos, even though it's very important, so try to make it at least for sure for men. Try to make it for on Purim, at least to hear it on Purim, that you could hear that you could hear it there. Okay, that is the siman of the 4 parshas, and tomorrow we'll continue with Purim itself. No, it will be included in the next one.